Hey y'all, welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. I'm popping up everywhere. I'm popping up on Podbean now. There we go. Hey y'all, welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. We're going live everywhere now. So I'll give it a second. Hey y'all, welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. Good afternoon. I got it right this time. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. We are popping up everywhere live. It is Tuesday, March 18th, and we are here with episode 26. Good afternoon, y'all. Welcome to Faith and Politics with me, Eileen. Y'all know while I let everybody pop on, we kind of go through what we're going to talk about today. So if you didn't know, you do know I'm a published author, and I'm really excited about it. I published my book last week or last weekend. It went through Amazon, so I'm really excited. The name of the book is Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement per our New Orleans City Charter. So that is what the book is about. It is a litany of resources. It's literally everything you didn't know you needed. If you need a brush up of your Civics 101 of New Orleans, this is the book for you. If you have any youth in your family, this is the book for you. For me and my family, it was a big thing to get us, when we were able to vote. And so I just want to offer this information to the residents and to the city and to, our community. We in New Orleans, we have a very low voter turnout, unfortunately. And so I found, when talking to residents, that a lot of it is because they don't feel like they are engaged with, and that they have the information or enough information to engage and participate in politics to the level that we should see our community doing it so that our voices can be heard. So therefore, I wanted to empower the residents with some information. And here on Tuesdays, we pop up every Tuesday. I have a podcast, Faith in Politics Today. You can find me online visually. I'm live right now on YouTube, X, TikTok, and IG. So hello, y'all. Welcome y'all to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. If you're just popping on, we really want to engage the community just to speak up in your spheres of influence. There's so much going on, as you see, with the council, with the mayor, and with the governor, and with our state legislature, as well as in national politics. So it's really a breakdown of what everybody does, because when we know what everybody does, then we can hold them more accountable for what they're supposed to do. So Today's episode is episode 26, like I said. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about all of them. But today we're going to break down the executive and the legislative branches per the New Orleans City Charter. And this is coming directly from the book. So I'm going to read parts of it, and then we're going to kind of discuss it a little bit. But I wanted to give you information straight from the book because I want you to know what's in the book, so that if you want to download it, the ebook you can download it for $9.99. The paperback is $14.99, and there is a hardback for people who love hardback. I love books, so I put it in all versions, and that's $21.99. This is really something that is for everyone. It gives you information of the breakdown of who does what, but it also gives you information of how to do business. So if you have a business and you're interested in doing business on the city level, if you have a business and you're interested in doing business on the state level or the federal levels, they also have that information in there. I also have a whole chapter on links. If y'all don't know, I was in communication for the city for 3 years, as well as I did radio for WBOK for 4 years. And so giving information is just my thing. I believe a lot of us don't have enough information. And so I try to put the links at your fingertips to make sure that you can have the information and you can share with your family and friends, and that New Orleans can be empowered and more engaged with the civic process. So that's what this is all about. So of course, our podcast, or my podcast, is live Tuesdays at noon. So thank you for popping on. If you want to join our blast, I have a blast every Tuesday at 10 a.m. It goes out with the information for the week of what's going to be talked about on the podcast and what we're going to be just chatting about for the week. And this week, like I said, is the executive branch and the legislative branch. And so if you would like to join that, you can text join, the word join, in your email to 504-399-4380. That is 504 399-4380. So if you want to join and get information straight to your email, you can do it. Text join and your email to 504-399-4380. So, and if you're also, I had some people send me some DMs about, they had questions or they wanted to send their 2 cents about, they may be a city worker and they want to send their solutions regarding something. We are open to everything. If you're interested in partnering, if you're interested in just anything, questions, concerns, community solutions, we want to hear them. You can email us at faithinpoliticstoday@gmail.com. That is faithinpoliticstoday@gmail.com. So I want to thank everybody for popping on. And if you've missed an episode, you can go back to anywhere that you podcast and you can catch up. Episodes 20 through 26, that is today, will be strictly about like New Orleans politics. Episodes 1 through 9 are more of my prophecies. So you can go there and kind of understand. I gave a 3-year plan, or not plan, the 3-year kind of outline of what was going on in New Orleans. The Lord gave it to me and I shared it with you all. If you do follow me, you know that I drop the prophetic words that the Lord gives me. And so follow me on any of my platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, all of those, and actually YouTube as well. I post my prophecies there. So if you're interested in any of that type of information, you can get it there, because y'all, right now it is on and popping. If you are on Team God, let me just tell you, you got the right team right now, because he is flipping tables for us and he is not playing in this hour, and neither should we. We need to be walking in our authority, and part of that is knowing what we need to know to move forward. So with that being said, I'm going to pop open the book on my computer so I can read parts of these for you, because it's really very detailed, and I want to go through it piece by piece so you understand what's in the book. And so chapter 1, New Orleans Government Overview. New Orleans, a city with a rich cultural heritage and complex needs, operates under a unique governmental structure. The government of New Orleans operates under a system that mirrors the structure of the United States government, with 3 primary branches: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. We're just going to be going over the first 2 because the judicial branch is actually kind of long, which you probably didn't think. And the judicial branch, most of their information is actually under the state of Louisiana, not in our city charter. Your judicial branches is going to be more under the state. And so that's also explained in the book. And, a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. And so that's why you see the state really coming in and helping with the cases and the DA and trying to take some of that caseload off of them so that they can work the judicial system so that it works for us. These branches work together to ensure the proper functioning of the city's governance. The city's governance is based on the New Orleans City Charter. So if you didn't know, or you needed a dust off in your civics, this is it. The guiding document that outlines the roles and responsibilities of all branches is our New Orleans City Charter. It is central to this local government that divides authority between the mayor, which is our chief executive officer, kind of like a CEO, and the city council, which is the legislative branch. This system is designed to balance powers and ensure that both branches collaborate to address the city's challenges and opportunities. And I think this is a very important conversation right now, because you see how our mayor and our city council have been working together, or lack thereof, due to their, personal opinions on different subjects. They are not cohesive right now, unfortunately, and it is really to the detriment of the city. So if we know who does what, you can understand a little bit better of how to navigate the system, and you can see who's doing their job and who's not doing their job, and then we can hold those specific persons accountable. We have a lot of people who are putting themselves up for public office, and we need to know what they've been doing, and have you been doing your job, if we can trust you in different areas. And so we do have the mayor's race coming up, we do have the city council's race coming up, and we have a litany of other things coming up. We also have a election on the March 29th with regard to 4 different amendments. So we really need to pay attention to those. So I'm going to break down the overview of the New Orleans unique governmental structure. And all of this is in my book, Faith in Politics Today, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement in New Orleans. And you can find that book right there on Amazon. So the overview of the New Orleans unique governmental structure. New Orleans government is built on the Home Rule Charter, which gives the city the ability to self-govern within the limits of the Louisiana State Constitution. This unique charter provides a clear division of powers between the executive branch, led by the mayor, and the legislative branch, composed of the city council. The mayor-council structure empowers the mayor to execute the day-to-day operations of the city, while the city council has the authority to pass laws, approve budgets, and hold the executive accountable. So that's important. The city council is responsible for holding the executive branch accountable. New Orleans operates under a strong mayor system. So that's what this is. It operates under a strong mayor system. So this mayor council system, it's not something that we just pulled out of the air. They do have a lot of other cities in the United States of America that works in this type of system. But there are also lots of government areas that do not operate under this system. So you can see how New Orleans and Jefferson Parish, or even New Orleans and Baton Rouge, are different. Whereas in Baton Rouge, the mayor and the council president are the same person. And in the Jefferson Parish, you see that they have a council. They don't have a mayor, but New Orleans has a mayor. So that's kind of a difference between three different styles of governance. And so you can see how New Orleans is a little bit different, which is important. So you need to know the difference so you know how to navigate government. So with the mayor council form of government, it is a common form of government in cities across the United States, and it is a structure adopted by New Orleans under the city charter. In this system, there is a clear separation between the executive and legislative branches, with each branch having distinctive roles and powers. And this is really important because when I was listening to a lot of residents, some residents were getting confused, thinking that the governor was the mayor's boss, or that the state was over our city council and things of that. And I was like, wait a minute, we're getting a lot of this confused. So we really need to understand these roles so that we can break it down and understand who is supposed to do what and focus our attention there. So let's start with the mayor. And we're going to give short pieces. The mayor, as the city's executive, the mayor is responsible for overseeing the administration and management of city government. The mayor's role is laid out in the city charter, which grants the office the power to implement and enforce city laws. So that's important because if you aren't seeing city laws enforced in the city of New Orleans, now you know who's supposed to be doing it. So when they're talking about safety and permits and things that are being bypassed, or these laws are being upheld and these aren't, well, you know who is in charge of that. It's the mayor, because the mayor is over every department. So if the NOPD is enforcing, a law over here, but they're not enforcing a law over there, the person you need to go to would be the mayor. So the mayor also proposes policies. She manages, or let's just make it in general, the mayor manages municipal services and directs the city budget. So, every year the mayor has to give the budget at the end of the year, and then the legislative branch, which is our city council, they approve the budget. The mayor has a wide range of authority, from appointing department heads to executing programs and initiatives that align with the city's strategic goals. So if we want something done in the city, we hire or elect our mayor, and the mayor is supposed to be doing the will of the people, not their own thing. We hire them and we elect the mayor to do the will of the people. So you sit back and look, is the mayor doing the will of the people? Because that's what we hire that person in that position to do. They're supposed to be doing the will of the people. Now, the city council. The city council serves as the legislative branch of New Orleans. The city council is responsible for drafting, reviewing, and passing local ordinances. So local ordinances are also known, you would put that in the category of laws. So your ordinance, when you hear somebody says, oh, this ordinance or that ordinance, they are speaking of a law. or a resolution, and the budget. So the city council serves as a legislative body in New Orleans, and it is responsible for drafting, reviewing, passing local ordinances, laws, resolutions, and the budget. The city council represents New Orleans residents. Now, they're supposed to represent us by ensuring that the city government works effectively and transparently. The city council serves as a check on the mayor's power. So that is why you see the city council speaking up in certain instances, because that is their job. The council serves as a check on the mayor's power. So they're supposed to ensure accountability and transparency in how the executive branch operates. So why this is important? Because we see a lot of these leaders putting themselves out there, and we need to know, have you been holding the mayor accountable? Not the person, but the department or that position, because I'm not talking about people at this point. We're just talking about the positions. So has the council been ensuring accountability and transparency in how the executive branch operates? So the council can pick and choose when they call people in and say, hey, we want to know more about this issue. They have the ability to call any of the departments in and say, hey, we want to know about safety and permits. We want to know about Homeland Security. We want to know about our libraries. A lot of libraries had been out and didn't have air conditioning. They could have called them to the table and say, hey, what's going on with that? The residents want to know more about that. Or the roads and our public works. Hey, project managers, what's going on with, we could pick a council district at this point, A, B, C, D, E, all of them, have slow progress. What's going on with the project managers? And what you've seen is recently you've seen them call in the project manager for Lincoln Beach. So that's a great example. You've seen them call in the project manager for Lincoln Beach and say, hey, what's going on with Lincoln Beach? Why is this taking so long? They're supposed to be getting answers for us from these departments. So that's part of the responsibility for the city council. So it's important to know this because they have checks and balances. My 2 cents in this has been, have each branch been doing their working their responsibilities in accordance with the city charter to make our lives easier? Now, each of us can answer that question on our own. I'm not here to, sway anybody either way. I'm here to give you information. So with that being said, and all of this information is coming directly from my book, Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement, and it's available on Amazon now. So we're going to kind of break down the strong mayor system a little bit, because I just described that New Orleans has a mayor-council form of government, which is different than Jefferson Parish and which is different than Baton Rouge. So just to bring you up to speed if you're just hopping on. So with the mayor-council system, it's a common form of governance in cities across the United States, and it is the structure adopted by New Orleans. And so with that being said, you have to understand that since we have a strong mayor system, if the person who is filling the seat of mayor is not doing their duties, there is no one else in the city of New Orleans that can perform those duties. It is exclusive to the mayor. The legislative branch cannot step into the mayor's roles and do her job for her. The governor cannot step into the mayor's role and do the job for that position. The only person who can do that position is the mayor. Why? Because we have a strong mayor system. So if there is a void in leadership in the position of mayor, you're going to see things falling apart in the city. Why? Because no one else can do the job. Literally. What you will see and what you have seen in the city of New Orleans is the governor come in and do certain things. Now you're like, well, why can he do certain things in the city of New Orleans? Well, here's why. Because the governor can come in with regard to anything that has to do with the state and anything that has to do with the federal government. So with the homelessness, here's an example. We had a homeless issue for years in the city of New Orleans, right? And we felt like our executive branch, which is the CEO, the mayor's administration, was not taking care of it. You had a litany of homelessness under the Claiborne area and uptown under like the Chapatoulas area and throughout the city, but those were the bigger ones. They had, I'm not going to speak of the businesses, directly, but they had businesses that were interviewed on multiple channels saying that, there were people who were defecating and leaving needles, and it wasn't just a homeless thing. It was more becoming, a safety issue with regard to crime and drugs and children walking by and seeing these things and, having interactions with people who needed some help. And so the governor came in because the I-10 and underneath those areas are federal. That is under the Department of Transportation, under the federal government. So therefore, and under the state. And so he can come in those areas, right? The governor can come in if it's a state issue or if it's a federal issue, he can come into those areas. For example, as well as that, to add on to that, the governor came in and worked with the city council last summer to move forth some policies regarding the Sewage and Water Board. Now, why could he do that? Yes, the mayor is the head of Sewage and Water Board. She is the president. The mayor is the president of Sewage and Water Board, but Sewage and Water Board is a state agency. So therefore, the governor can come in that regard because it's a state agency. As well as with regard to policing. The governor can come in with regard to policing, which is why you see Troop NOLA in the city of New Orleans. So those are the areas that the state can come in. Outside of that, the governor has no power in the city of New Orleans other than, with the residents or with the city leaders trying to, make agreements or things of that sort. So with that being said, the mayor, as the mayor is the chief executive of the city of New Orleans, the mayor is responsible for overseeing the administration and management of city government. Right, y'all? So is that happening? That's up for you to decide. The mayor's role is laid out in the city charter. And like I said, when writing this book, I based it on the city charter. So everything in here is like by the book. This is not like a question. This is not something I just thought was a great idea. This is like, what does the city charter say? And this is what I'm going to give the residents. So the mayor's role is laid out in the city charter, which grants the office the power to implement and enforce city laws, propose policies, manage multiple municipal services. Yes, the mayor is supposed to manage municipal services. So your basic services of trash collection that you see all of this, in my opinion, you see a lot of confusion with trash since Ida. Why has there been so much confusion with regard to trash since Ida? I don't know, but it falls under the purview of the mayor. So the mayor has that authority. The mayor also directs the city budget. The mayor has a wide range of authority, from appointing department heads to executing programs and initiatives that align with the city's strategic goals. So that's important too, because the mayor is supposed to be executing programs and initiatives that align with city strategic goals. So the will of the people. Let me give you an example of something I've seen, and let me give you an example of something I have not seen. So I do know that the mayor has programs with regard to like cleaning up New Orleans, and they do it in partnership with their Office of Neighborhood Engagement. When I worked with the city, the program was called Clean Up NOLA. I'm not sure if it's still called Clean Up NOLA, but they do have a cleanup initiative where if you call the Neighborhood Engagement Office and you connect with them and you want to have a cleanup in your neighborhood, I know that they do still do that. So if you're interested in doing a cleanup in your neighborhood, you should reach out to the Office of Neighborhood Engagement. That is a great idea if you feel like your neighborhood parks or your NORD parks or anything like that. Like there was a cleanup at Comiskey Park. If you did want the city to partner with you, you could reach out to the Department of Neighborhood Engagement and you could come up with the date, and they would bring resources to help do the cleanup. So that is 2 cents for you. And I do have a lot of these tidbits in the book. So make sure you pick up the book. As I said again, it is Faith in Politics Today, and you can find it on Amazon. And the link is in all of my bios. All of my social bios is a link to the book. And everything I'm reading is laid out in the book as well. It's a great book because it's the information you didn't know you needed, and it's at your fingertips, and it's really good for all ages. It is broken down per the city charter, and so it's word for word in certain areas. In certain areas, I give a history of like voting. I give a history of civic engagement and things of that sort. I also give information, like I said, on how to do business. So if you're just popping into the podcast now, I do give information on how to do business with the city, with the state, and with the federal government. So if you're a small business owner, you're looking to grow a business and you're interested in that, all of that information is in the book as well. So let's jump to the summary of the city council. The city council serves as the legislative body of New Orleans. It is responsible for drafting, reviewing, and passing local ordinances, which are laws, resolutions, and the budget. The city council represents the interests of New Orleans residents by ensuring that the city government works effectively and transparently. The council also serves as a check on the mayor's power, ensuring accountability and transparency in how the executive branch operates. And so that's why you've seen the city council kind of calling the administration to task on certain things. My personal opinion, I try not to get it, but I am going to give it right now. I feel like they have been using this to get low-hanging fruit, and I just believe that there are larger things that residents want. Like I said, with regard to executing those programs, let me go back because I said I was going to give you something that worked and something that didn't work. So the something that didn't work. We had a lot of residents, including myself, in the past couple years that have gone in front of the council and made it apparent to the mayor that we wanted to see funding go to youth programming in the city. We've asked for it for years, and unfortunately, we have not been seeing it. Why is a great question because we've asked for it. We know that our youth have not had enough attention. We know that they do not have enough activities, and the residents have been asking for it. And in my opinion, the will of the people has not been met in that capacity because we have asked and asked and asked, and it has not been happening. If you see our Nord, how Nord has been in the news recently, we have a couple of residents who've actually really been putting that forth. They've taken pictures of the Nord facilities, and you've seen my own personal park is Harrell Park Uptown. And, we haven't had the pool in years. And I could just go on and on with what needs to be done at the different parks. But our parks need attention. Our children need attention. Our youth programming needs attention. And so I believe the administration on both sides, the executive branch and the legislative branch, have done us disservices in that role. If you wanted to be the voice of the youth and you wanted to be the voice of our children and to really forge that course, in my opinion, I have not seen any of them doing that to date. And that is something that really does bother me. To each their own, but that's something that bothers me. So the mayor's role in executive matters under the city charter. So under the New Orleans City Charter, the mayor is vested with significant executive powers to ensure the smooth operation of the city government. Some of the key responsibilities of the mayor include, so this is going to go into a little bit more detail of the mayor's responsibilities. And like I said, all of this is from the city charter, and I consolidated it into a book. You can find it on Amazon. Executive leadership. The mayor serves as the executive officer of New Orleans, responsible for directing and overseeing the work of all of the city's various departments. Did I say all? The mayor is responsible for directing and overseeing the work of all, capital ALL, of the city's various departments, such as public safety, sanitation, economic development, and the list goes on and on. And if you want a list of the departments in the city of New Orleans, guess what I did? I put them right there in the book for you, and I put the information on how you can research them, and I gave you the links for all of these things. If you want to go to the information, you can. Not now, you got to wait till the podcast is off, but you can find all of the department information on NOLA.gov. NOLA.gov. That's where you can find all of the city information on NOLA.gov. The mayor's leadership ensures that the day-to-day functions of the city are carried out efficiently and in line with the policies set forth by the city council. Did y'all hear that? So the mayor's leadership, or the mayor, is supposed to ensure the day-to-day functions of the city are carried out efficiently and in line with the policies set forth by the city council. So this is important right now because you see that the city council has set forth laws and ordinances that they suspended travel in the city of New Orleans until they got a review and audit of the city's budget and the finances. And so they said, halt, because there is division between the mayor, the city council, and our New Orleans public school system. Long story short, the city owed the school system money because of the way that they were accounting for their taxes and allocating. They were supposed to be collecting the funds for the Orleans Parish School Board and then distributing them to the school board. Long story short, for years, it was not happening the way it was supposed to happen. And so the city owed New Orleans Public School like $120 million, y'all. No kidding. So they were in court for that. Now, with that being said, the city, the city's public school system had their own issues falling behind because they messed up their taxes and their adjustments of them. So they were like a 30 some million dollar shortfall. So they said, hey, this is how we can fix it because the city owes us a lot of money. So let's go finalize this suit with the city so we don't have to move forward, and we can make a deal with the city so we can get the money now and take care of our shortfall so there's no issues. So they made an agreement, and then the mayor decided that she did not want to move forth that agreement because she said the city does not have the funds. So if the city doesn't have the funds, then we get it, right? We don't want to do anything that we're not supposed to be doing. So, but the city council is like, wait, we do have the funds. What are you talking about? So there's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? If the mayor says we don't have the money, the city council says we do have the money, and the school board is like, hey, we're waiting for our money. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. So because the mayor said we don't have the money, the city council said, okay, well, if we don't have the money, we're going to put a halt on all spending. So they created a law, an ordinance that said, hey, we are not going to spend any more money if you say that we don't have money. We're going to take you at your word, say we don't have money, and we're going to put a halt until we can check the funds in the next audit. So that's why it happened. People thought it was petty and things of that nature. But if you say that we're broke, then we shouldn't be spending money, right? I mean, that's just kind of a basic. If you say you don't have money, then you shouldn't be spending excess. So with that being said, that's why there is such chaos with the mayor now going out of town and using funds. They say if we're broke, you can't use funds that we're trying to take care of the children. So there is a lot of confusion there, and there should not be confusion because, as I said a little bit earlier, everyone should be putting the children first and taking care of the children. In my opinion, we should take care of the children first, and then you can point fingers as to who's at fault. But the children need to be taken care of first. Our teachers need to be taken care of before all of this nonsense. So I put it at the feet of all of the above because they should have been more, just more hands-on on all levels. So we're going to put it on everybody's at everybody's feet. But who can move it forward the easiest right now is the mayor. She needs to just pay it. And I believe when they find out that we do have money, because that's what the council is suggesting, that we're going to see a lot of movement and we're going to see a lot of exposure in different avenues. So hold on to your britches and get ready for that. Because the mayor has not been carrying out the policies set forth by the city council, and that is her executive duty and oath that she took. So that is where the problem comes in. So with policy implementation, the mayor is responsible for putting into action the policies and laws passed by the city council. So look, that was the next point. I'm just kind of rolling into it. This includes the execution of city ordinances, enforcement of local laws, and overseeing the administration of city services. The mayor also has the ability to propose new policies, programs, and ordinances to address specific issues facing the city. So if you are having an issue anywhere in the city, it's not just the city council who can propose new laws or new ordinances or new things. The mayor has that ability too. So I want you to sit back and think, have you been seeing those things happen coming out of the administration? Have you been seeing that coming from your city council? Have they been doing the will of the people? Because that's why we hire them, right? We hire them to do our will. So if you have not been seeing them doing our will, you now know who to direct your concern to. The next is the budget proposal. The mayor plays a crucial role in the city's financial operations. The mayor is responsible for preparing and submitting an annual budget to the city council. This budget outlines the city's revenue, how the city's revenue will be allocated to various departments, services, and projects. While the city council reviews and approves the budget, the mayor's proposal is the starting point for the city's fiscal planning. Now, why this is important, let me just give you an example. Safety and permits. I think we all know about safety and permits and the buildings falling down around the city. So what I do know is the Department of Safety and Permits have asked for an increase in persons as well as funding, because I believe they have like 2 or 3 inspectors for the entire city, which is absolutely ridiculous. They have asked for funding to, and I know you will find that ridiculous, because how can that possibly happen? Right. I mean, you don't even have one for each councilmatic district, y'all. It's nuts. But anyway, they have asked for it, and actually the current administration was requesting a reduction in funds for the Office of Safety and Permits. Now, why would you request a reduction in funds for safety and permits? Well, I also think it's very interesting to note that our mayor is currently under investigation, federal investigation, regarding the Office of Safety and Permits. And so having these little bits of information really do kind of open your eyes as to why maybe the current administration does not want to support our Department of Safety and Permits. Just information, y'all, just information. And information is key. Changes the game. Appointments and personnel decisions. The mayor has the authority to appoint key officials in city government, including department heads, and the mayor's administration plays a significant role in shaping the leadership of city agencies. Some appointments, especially those of major department heads, require the approval of the city council. And that is new within the last year, which you saw when the city council had to approve the new police chief. Now, why is this important? Because there are a lot of people who are like, New Orleans isn't New Orleans. We haven't seen this, that, and the other for a long time. Well, you have to pay attention to who the mayor or the person in that role is directing each of our department heads. Because if you look at our department heads, most of them in these past 8 years are not from the city of New Orleans. Did you hear that? Yes. The majority of our department heads are not from the city of New Orleans. They have been from outside cities and states, and they have come in to give their 2 cents on how New Orleans should run. Now, of course, we're not going to say no one from outside of New Orleans, would be good to help New Orleans move forward, because we do want new ideas and things of that nature. But when you have the majority of directors in the city of New Orleans who aren't from the city of New Orleans running the city of New Orleans, as well as the top elected official, and actually, I'm not going to go there. You will see things that aren't New Orleans. And so that's why you see a lot of changes that people are like, well, what's going on? We have a lot of department heads that have no connection or understanding to the city of New Orleans. For example, they're not going to ask you what high school you went to. That's what we would ask. That is not something that they're going to ask or even know what we're talking about, to be perfectly honest. But that's important when running city government. And so who are choosing these people to run the city of New Orleans? Like we said, the appointments and personnel decisions are made by the mayor. And the last point for the mayor and the executive branch are the emergency powers. And we just had this on full display with regard to the terrorist attack on the French Quarter in Bourbon Street. And then you saw the SEER rating go up to level 1 with regard to the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. And you saw the level of protection that was then garnered to the city of New Orleans. So the emergency powers. In times of crisis or emergency, such as natural disasters, the mayor has the authority to take swift action to protect the safety and welfare of the city's residents. The mayor can issue executive orders, mobilize city resources. Let me repeat that. The mayor is responsible for mobilizing city resources and to work with state and federal agencies to coordinate disaster response efforts. So with regard to the terrorist attack, there was a lot of conversation about the bollards and and the safety precautions that were taken with regard to the French Quarter in general, and specifically Bourbon Street. So let me go back to what the city charter says. Emergency powers in times of crisis or emergency, such as natural disasters, the mayor has the authority to take swift action to protect the safety and welfare of the city's residents. The mayor can issue executive orders. The mayor can mobilize city resources and work with state and federal agencies to coordinate disaster response efforts. So the departments that the mayor is responsible for mobilizing city resources. Hard stop. If you wanted to know who is responsible, that's who's responsible. So now we're going to jump into the city council's role in legislative matters. I know y'all were like, enough of the mayor. Here's the city council. Here we go. The city council is composed of 7 elected members. They serve as the legislative branch of the New Orleans government. The council's primary role is to pass ordinances and laws that govern the city. According to the New Orleans City Charter, the city's council's responsibilities include. So, like I said, this is according to the New Orleans City Charter, and you can find all of this information on NOLA.gov, or you can just go get the book, Faith in Politics Today. I compiled this information so that New Orleanians can be empowered. It is great for our youth on up. The City Council, legislating. The City Council is responsible for drafting, amending, and passing local laws, known as ordinances, that apply to New Orleans. These ordinances cover a wide range of areas, such as zoning, land use, public safety, public health, transportation, and environmental regulations. The City Council works to address issues important to the residents of New Orleans and ensure that the laws reflect the community's needs. So that's why we go to the City Council and we say, hey, we want you to do A, B, and C of this. They will maybe amend a law or an ordinance, or they will propose an ordinance and pass it. And then after they pass the law, it is the mayor's responsibility to execute the law. So that's how it works. Budget approval. The City Council, while the mayor proposes the city's budget, the City Council has the power to approve. So the City Council has power of the purse strings. They approve, amend, or reject the budget. The council role in the budget process is critical because it ensures that the allocation of funds aligns with the priorities of the city's residents. So if we don't see enough money going to where we want it to go, guess who's responsible for that? That's not the mayor. She says, hey, I think this is a good idea, but the city council has the final word on that. They can adjust the budget. So if there is not enough funding in a certain area, or you're like, why are they getting all the money and they're not? Or why does this festival get money and this children's program isn't getting money? Hint, hint. You need to look at the council and what their role is in that. Or, hey, why isn't my councilmatic district getting this funding? Why is all of the funding going to this councilmatic district? Hint, hint, that is your city council members. And so each of us has 3 city council members. I know you're like, wait, we only have 1. Nope, you have 3. And let me explain why. Each councilmatic district has their own city council member, but then there are 2 at-large seats. So the 2 at-large seats currently are Moreno and Morel. And so they represent you as well. So you have 3 people you can go to. You can go to your council in your specific district, or you can go to the 2 city council that are over the entire city. So you need to understand that to know who you can reach out to. So if your council member, your direct council member isn't giving you a response, you can go to the overall council members and get your voice heard, and they can say, hey, why don't you come along on this? Or your residents really want some movement in this area. So this is a great one, y'all. Oversight and accountability. Oversight and accountability. The city council plays a vital role in holding the mayor and city departments accountable. Let me repeat that again. The city council has oversight and accountability, and all of this is from the city charter. So this is what they are required to do. This is their job. The city council plays a vital role in holding the mayor and city departments accountable. The council has the authority to investigate the operations of the executive branch and the use of public funds. Let me repeat that. The council has the authority to investigate the operations of the executive branch and use of public funds. Through hearings, audits, and public reports, The city council ensures that the mayor and city officials are acting in the best interest of the public. So the council is required by law, that's their job, to ensure that the mayor and the administration and the city officials over every department are acting in the best interest of the public. So you can sit back and say, hey, has that been happening? That's for you to decide. And we're going to move to the next point. Appointments and confirmations. The city council, and this is the last point for city council, appointments and confirmations. The city council also has the power to confirm or reject appointments made by the mayor. And like I said, this is reasonably new because we voted to give the city council that authority. Why did we get to that point? The residents felt like they weren't being heard. We felt like the administration, the current administration, was not listening to us. And so we were having issues with our department heads, and we felt like they were not could handle the responsibilities of the roles that they were being put in. A lot of people felt like it was just friend, family type thing, and it wasn't, on merit. And so we felt like we needed a little check in those situations to make sure that the person put in that position could actually do the job. Now, remember, if you're just checking in, remember what I said earlier, that our current administration has many people from outside of the city in the majority of our department heads. So with that being said, you can see why the checks and balances are really important. And so let me go back into that. The city council has the power to confirm or reject appointments made by the mayor, including the positions such as police chief, fire chief, and heads of all of our key city departments. This power provides a check on the mayor's authority by ensuring that appointees meet the standards and expectations set by the city council and the public. So with that being said, the big thing that I believe isn't being addressed now is the will of the people. We go into the city council chambers, we say, this is what we want, and the will of the people is not being heard. It's not being heard by our city council, and it's not being heard by our current administration. Why do I say that? Have seen the polls that have gone out? We've been doing polls since 2022. You know what happened in 2022? We had a recall, and it did not pass. But as you saw, the recall would have given us a vote. It did not pass, but the recall did give us a new police chief. So it did crack open a lot of information that residents would not have been paying attention to if the residents did not speak up. So I just want to thank, everyone who participated in the recall. Y'all, for 7 months, we stood on corners and we did outreach and we listened, and we just wanted to make sure that your voices were heard. And to be perfectly honest, one of the reasons why I did this book was because I do not feel like anyone stepped up to the plate and picked up the baton after the residents were like, these are a list of our concerns. And we weren't heard. The will of the people has not been done. And that is a problem for me. And I feel like if we empower residents with information, we can each speak up in our spheres of influence, whether that be education. Right now, if you are in education, we need you to speak up right now. If you are in, public safety, if you are in education, if you are in housing, if you are in the homeless, y'all, I've heard actually, some residents do give us some information, and the maintenance of city properties is catastrophic at this point. I don't believe enough people know that as of right now, but usually we find this out in the hot months of the summer and the cold months of the winter, that the infrastructure in the city really needs help, and it has not been given the attention that it needs by our current administration or our city council. Because what we've learned with regard to the charter, as I've read, that the city council can call all of these departments tasks and call them in front of them and say, hey, what's going on? And if that has not happened, then they have not been walking in their duties as well. So with that being said, the summary of the executive and council branches in New Orleans: the government of New Orleans is structured to maintain a balance of power between the mayor and city council, ensuring that both branches can operate independently while collaborating on the administration of city policies and services. The mayor-council system provides a clear division of duties, with the mayor focusing on executive functions and the city council handling legislative matters. This system allows New Orleans to address its unique challenges while maintaining accountability and responsiveness to the needs of its residents. By understanding the roles and responsibilities of the mayor and the city council, citizens can better navigate the city's government and actively participate in shaping its future. So that's why I wrote the book, y'all. Because when we know exactly what the mayor is supposed to do, that position, what the city council is supposed to do in their position, then we can hold them accountable for doing the will of the people. And unfortunately, in these past 8 years, and some would say beyond that, but we're just going to focus on what we have at hand, and we don't even have to speak for 8 years. Let's just focus on the 4 where this city council has been sitting and this administration. The will of the people has not been placed at the forefront. Hard stop. The will of the people has not been placed at the forefront, and we need to understand who is responsible for what so that we can hold them accountable. A lot of them are putting themselves up for public office, and we need to say, hey, have you been doing your job duties? If you want a new job, have you been doing your job duties? And so that's what Faith in Politics is all about. It is empowering residents. So no matter if it's our mayor, no matter if it's our city council, if it's our judges, if it's our state reps, if it's our state senators, if it's our federal representatives, if it's our U.S. reps or our U.S. senators, we need to know who does what. So today's episode 26, if you're just hopping on, we're about to, crash out on it. But today is episode 26, and it was the New Orleans executive and legislative branches. Next week, I'll be talking about our judicial system, because our judicial system is not how you think. You would think our judicial system is directly under the city charter, but it's not. Our judicial system is under the state of Louisiana. And all of this is explained in the book. The book is Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement. And I really wrote this book as it was a labor of love, because residents aren't informed. And when I worked with the city, what I really understood is residents think they know, and unfortunately, they have no idea. What I do know is that the communications departments in the city of New Orleans, for all of the above, do not inform the residents. Y'all are months behind with information, and I really believe it's a disservice. And with that being said, I also believe that our media does us a disservice and does not really give us the information, all the information that we need. Let me say that. I do believe a lot of our independent podcast, and, shout out to Empower Unola. He's one. We go there for, a lot of our crime information, because we're not getting it from our news agencies. And we go to Don P, he's on the air. We go to these independent resources, Verite News, The Lens, and Big Easy, and things like that. We've been going to these smaller independent news sources, but they're important because they don't have strings attached like other agencies do. Some of our radio stations, and I'll say that, are funded by the city of New Orleans. They are given grants to hold on, and you can take from that which you will, which is why, certain elected officials have more positive news on certain platforms. And so with that, I encourage you to pick up with what I'm saying and know that some of your information is geared to sway you. And so I wanted to give you independent information. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't really care about either party. I'm an independent. I have no strings attached, and I speak my mind. It is what it is. None of them can hold anything over me, which is now a blessing, and with that being said, I can give information to the residents directly and not worry about everything else. They've already tried to blackball me across the city and everything else. But you know what? I'm going to continue to talk, because I don't find that anyone is speaking up for the residents. I feel that there's a lot of web of politics, and people are controlled. And with that, people have people have I don't want to say requirements, but people have strings that they're, connected to. And we just don't have time for that anymore. We don't. New Orleans is, we're at a vital and a pivotal point. I said that in 2022, and I said we can't take 3 more years of this type of administration. And so, as you see, we're 2 years in it, and we have 1 year left of this type of administration. And so, residents, in my opinion, really need to speak up now, because now is a time where we have a voice. They're listening to us now because they all need us. It is what it is. They need us now. So with them needing us now, we need to speak up and let our voices be heard. Because like I said, just as the example, we've been speaking up in city council chambers saying that we wanted more youth programming for at least the past 2 years, that I'm fully aware of, like being there and seeing it for myself. And I know many people have said this for years. And I don't believe that our elected officials on any level right now are doing the full will of the people. And that's what we hired them for. We hired them to do our will. You hired them to be there when you're not, right? We hired them to speak up in meetings when you're not there, not to, give us the okey doke and talk that talk to make us feel good. And then you find out on the news that a totally different agreement was made. And you're like, what? That's not what we agreed on. Oh, but they sat down and talked to you. No, we need action. We need actionable results in the city of New Orleans. We need to be taken care of. And as residents, we need to get more involved in our community. I'm 46 years old, and I grew up when our community was a community of neighborhoods. We cared about each other. And I just don't see that now. And where that went, I don't know, but I'm all for bringing it back. I'm not about pointing fingers. I'm like, this is where we are. This is what it is. We need to do better as community leaders, as business leaders, as education leaders. We need to come together and say, hey, we want A, B, and C done. That is something else I'll say. When I grew up, the business community was much more involved in city governance and would speak up. And I haven't really been seeing that as well. So, that's kind of a fifth arm because of government. Because, of course, you have your executive, your legislative, your judicial. They always say that the media is your fourth arm. But like I said, I feel like the media has, let us down. And then our business community. And so I don't feel like all of them have been working cohesively. I believe we can do it. We can do it together, but the residents have to push it, and the residents' voices must be heard. So with that being said, this is Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. I am here every Tuesday at noon. I am here just to bring you information that you didn't know you needed, and I hope you share it. This isn't always the fun, sexy information, but it's the information you need to help guide how our cities run. We live here, we play here, hopefully. And, I just want to make a stronger community for each and every one of us. Because for me, it really kind of annoys me that a firefighter and an EMS worker cannot get married and have 2 kids and afford the city of New Orleans. And my thing is, well, who are we doing it for? Who are we doing it for? Are we doing it for tourists and just the business community? Yes, we love our tourists. Yes, we love our business community, but we have to take care of ourselves in that as well. And the city is not taking care of ourselves, and city government is not working for us. You have businesses who are trying to open, and people who are trying to build houses or things like that, and they can't get their permitting. Permitting is backed up since August of 2024. That's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And with it being a backup, and then they're talking about underfunding the department. Like, who made the decision to underfund the department when there's a backup? Why would you do that? How does that make common sense? It does not make common sense. So with that being said, we really need the community to speak up in their spheres of influence and to do what we need to do to get this done. And so I hope everyone engages in the process. We do have an election on March 29th. So I ask you to go read all of the amendments and make sure that it's yes or no. I'm not here to tell you what to do on what. I'm here to encourage you to please go educate yourself on it. Please educate yourself on it. That's what we need from our community. And also, don't just educate yourself. Share it with the youth around you. Share it with your cousins. Share it with your family members. When you visit them for parades and all of this, share the information so that we can become a stronger community. And if you want this type of information delivered straight to your inbox, you can do that as well. It's easy. You can text JOIN and your email to 504-399-4380. That is 504-399-4380. Text JOIN in your email, 504 399-4380. You will get a blast every Tuesday. Today, I gave out the information that I'm giving here. I gave the information with regard to the executive and the legislative branches, kind of the synopsis of what each of them does. And so with that being said, I hope you are encouraged to, purchase the book. It is on Amazon right now. The name of it is Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, A Guide to Civics, Resources and Civic Engagement. It was a labor of love because, y'all, I just love the city. I really do. I grew up under a politician. My dad was an elected official for 8 years, and he was involved in the community his entire life. We've knocked on doors in every councilmatic district in the city, and I've just seen such a decline in the city, and it really disheartens me. It really does. And so I just encourage each and every one of you to participate in what's going on. Speak up, speak up, speak up, because now is the time. If we don't speak up now, they're never going to listen to us. So with that being said, thank you for tapping into Faith and Politics today. This is Eileen, and I'm out. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Hey, YouTube, I'm saving you for last. Thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate it. Again, you can meet me here on Tuesdays at 12, Faith in Politics Today with me, Eileen. Go get the book. It is on Amazon. It is called Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, with a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement. It gives a history of New Orleans civic engagement for like the past 75 years, a history of voting. It gives a litany of information sources, literally like from housing to finances to economic development. I list all of the boards and all of the commissions, all of the departments, all of the agencies in the city of New Orleans. And I give you the links directly so that you can connect there and get the information that you didn't know you needed. And it's just really important that we do this. And so thank you so much for tapping in, and I will see you next time.